Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines. This is our morning get together live here on Facebook, where we enjoy coffee or whatever drink you happen to be drinking this early in the morning. We enjoy headlines from our city, our state, our country. We enjoy your comments, your welcomes, your ideas, your suggestions, your questions, so that we can combine all this wonderful information into a better connection with our city, Puerto Vallarta, with this country, Mexico, where we live, and a better connection with one another as a community of English speaking locals. As always, it is a pleasure to get together with you. And today, Wednesday, November 17th, is no exception. We're going to have a fun broadcast, hopefully. And I am enjoying, as always, seeing your good mornings and seeing who's here. And this is what we do. We also enjoy saying hello to new friends that join us on the broadcast. So if you happen to be new, if this is the first time that you're joining us, please don't hesitate to let us know by writing the word new in your comment, and we will simply give you a nice welcome. And if you have something very, very important to say that you want a reaction on, or you want a specific comment about, it helps a great deal if you add the letter Q to your comments, so that we can talk about this during the chit chat section at the end of the broadcast. But first, we have important news to share. We have news about InDriver. They're getting ugly, or the government's getting ugly. Who's the bad guy in this one? Well, we have to decide. And things are getting ugly at the airport as well, because it's taking forever for people to get from the plane to the curbside. We'll explain why. We also get to talk about important tourism developments in the country, including something that is going to definitely be a part of our bucket list in 2023. What else do we have? What else do we have? We have Walking Wednesday, of course. I went walking around Lázaro, Cardenas yesterday because we're going to discuss Lázaro Cardenas on Friday. I figured I'd better have some homework taken care of, and I discovered the most amazing taco place that we're going to talk about. So we're going to do a semi-taco Wednesday later on. But first, let us get into the news then, our weather forecast. Oh, a nice reminder to turn carrot weather on before we start with everything else that we have to discuss today. And I think I'm ready. And if you are ready, let us push the headlines button. So, as we mentioned in the intro, the issues between Jalisco's Secretary of Transportation and InDriver got uglier yesterday when a vehicle providing service for the platform was stopped and towed by the government authorities. When other drivers caught wind of this, they proceeded to block. They proceeded to block the tow truck, preventing it from moving and creating a traffic chaos along Francisco Medina Asensio Avenue. This time around, InDriver scored as authorities, so no option other than to release the towed vehicle. But things will most likely continue to escalate unless the platform and its drivers agree to comply with governmental expectations. You know the drill, pay taxes, offer insurance, nothing out of this world, and certainly nothing most of us are expected to do and are already doing on a regular basis. So if you are planning to hop on an InDriver car, please be warned, it could be an adventurous affair. The Tianguis Turístico de México, or Mexico Tourism Expo or Summit, our country and Latin America's most important tourism event, began yesterday in the city of Mérida in the state of Yucatan, with important guests present at the opening ceremony, including Mexico's President Andrés Manuel López Obrador, who offered the keynote speech. And of course, our governor, Enrique Alfaro, was there as well. This event is taking place for the 45th year, and the Tianguis Turístico is Mexico's ultimate showcase for our country's many offerings, many tourism offerings to the world, through a series of appointments that take place between the different destinations and hotel chains, tour operators, airlines, and many other components of the tourism chain. So it's not for the public. But here is where the big deals are made. All those charter planes that arrive from Italy or Spain every now and then, they come from these types of events. So it is in every destination's best interest to have a strong presence. Jalisco, like many other states, has its own pavilion. And the Tianguis Turístico continues through November 19. Now, one of the big attractions in the Tianguis Turístico this year is the Maya train, a 1,500 kilometer long train loop presently under construction here in Mexico, connecting the states of Chiapas, Tabasco, Campeche, Yucatan, and Quintana Roo. So if you enjoy train travel and scenic destinations, you want to pay attention to this one. Here are some renders of what the inside of the train is going to look like. Well, that's the outside of the train. It's fairly modern looking, and it's decorated with Mayan elements. Here is a sleeper cabin in night mode, and here's the similar cabin in daytime mode. Here is a sitting down area for regular passengers, and here is the cafeteria of the restaurant. Well, the restaurant on the train. So this is very exciting, and just to give you a sense as to where and how this is taking place, let us take a look at the route. This is the Yucatan Peninsula, and you can see clearly how the train connects all these wonderful areas. I mean, who would not want to go on this amazing train ride? The train is expected to provide both passenger and cargo service, and here is the importance of the project. It's not only going to be something that is going to benefit Mexico's tourism infrastructure, but also provide all these states with more connectivity for their chain of supply. When will we be able to enjoy the train? At the end of 2023. Says Mexico President Andrés López Obrador. This has been his emblematic project. This is what AMLO hopes is going to be one of his big legacies. So there you have it. Moving right along, and how funny that I scheduled the COVID news at the end of the news, because somehow it is still important, but not as important, although this particular news item is very important. Mexico has had a change of heart. Yes. Mexico has announced that COVID vaccination for minors between the ages of 15 and 17 years of age without present pre-existing conditions is coming. Yes, you heard me right. After many months of the government saying that no vaccines would be available for minors, authorities have had a change of heart. Pre-registration begins this Friday at the usual website, which is indicated in the article, but you probably already know what the website is. And if you don't know, you don't need to ask, because it's going to be available in the show notes. Now, here's an important question. Who would want to be an international passenger arriving at the Puerto Vallarta airport this time of year? Definitely not me. This is that time of year in which airport authorities wake up one day and go, oh shit, they're back. And they find themselves totally understaffed and underprepared to meet the demands of the increasing number of tourists arriving in our city this time of year. It's not like they didn't know it was happening. But according to this news report, international passengers are taking as long as 3 hours to go from the planing to the curbside simply because the airport is understaffed. Happens every year, and it will definitely get better as the airport wakes up and smells the coffee and headlines, no pun intended. In the meantime, if you have friends coming into town, do them a favor and give them a heads up. And I'm sticking this in just because I thought it was interesting. A self-portrait of by Mexico's acclaimed artist Frida titled Diego y Yo sold at a New York auction for a whopping $34.9 million, an amount 4 times higher than Frida's previous historical price of any of her paintings, and also the highest price anybody has ever paid for a painting by a Latin American artist ever. The identity of the buyer is unknown. But if you are watching, we could use some support around here. Boom, boom. Let us turn over to the weather just to see what we can expect on this Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It was surprisingly easy to convince everyone that Russia was responsible for blowing up that satellite in Earth's orbit. Yes, I read that on the news. Apparently, Russia was doing some tomfoolery, blasting satellites or doing something such that the International Space Station had to change its course. But hopefully, we'll still be able to see it tomorrow, early evening, as we previously announced. Anyhow, it is 27 degrees right now. It feels like 28. Our Fahrenheit temperature is 80, and our humidity is at 64%. Not so bad, not so good. Our weather forecast for today is a clear day, as we have been forecasting, with a high temperature of 30, a low temperature of 21. On Thursday, we can expect also a clear day. That would be tomorrow, high temperature of 31, low temperature of 20. And on Friday, we'll have another clear day with a high temperature of 31, low temperature of 18. Such nice weather for this time of year. And without further ado, I hate that phrase. Why am I using it today? Why am I using it ever? I don't understand it. It's like, without further ado. Somebody should spank me every time I say that. So now, anyhow, we are going to walk. Yesterday, I did a prep walk around Lázaro Cardenas. Lázaro Cardenas will explain in detail on Friday. But in the meantime, let me show you some of the things that I found, including this kick-ass taco place. Hello. We are starting our walk today at the corner of Ecuador and Las Americas. We are in the back of the stadium. Yes, we are, as you can see. And today, silly me, all I have to do is go out and go shopping for groceries. But why take a short trip to the grocery shop when you can take a long walk through Colonia Lázaro Cardenas, which we will be profiling in 2 days. On Friday, of course, we will discuss details about this colonia, but today we're going to walk through a couple of the streets that are part of Colonia Lázaro Cardenas, just so you can get a sense as to what you're likely to find in this residential neighborhood. So I'm going to take a left here on Cuba, or Calle Cuba Street, just to see what we can expect. Well, pretty little flower-lined streets for starters. Look at these beautiful flowering trees.
My tongue was twisted.
And the first thing that catches my attention, I cannot even speak today. The first thing that catches my attention is new construction. Yes, it is quite possible. Hello.
Somebody waved from the top balcony.
New construction is coming to this neighborhood as much as everywhere else. Buenas tardes. But for the most part, this is an old-fashioned Mexican neighborhood
with a cute coffee shop. Check it out.
But check it out. It's got its little details. There's a little coffee shop in here. ¿Puedo pasar? Gracias. You know, in the middle of a completely residential neighborhood, we find this cute little coffee shop. Hola, vida en café. It's nice to know that this is here. Bye-bye. And we continuing exploring. What a nice surprise. And of course, I know a few places in this neighborhood. We've talked about a few places in past broadcasts, but there are other places that we've never discussed. Coming up on the left is the home and music school of my friend Carla Barragan, Alas Escuela de Canto, which is here. And we're going to continue along this street to the very end. Why this street? Well, we're going to end up at the Red Cross at the other end, and of course this is a large colonia. We couldn't possibly cover it in a single walk, but this will give us a sense as to what we can find. A neighborhood church. Let's take a photo. And boom, there you go.
Guess who I met yesterday?
I'm
Hello,
sure a
Glee.
Google map will confirm the name of the church. And I'm going to cross the street just because it is shady on the other end.
And I'm shady on the other end. Oh, I amuse myself.
Buenas tardes. I am now crossing Belize Street. I noticed that a lot of the streets in this neighborhood are named after other countries. There's also a bunch of streets with river names. But it's fairly quiet. And here I'm going to take a snapshot of something that is quite common around here. People just hanging out
Around here in many
on the
small
sidewalk,
towns, people just hang
minding
out.
their own business. Buenas tardes. What else can one do other than to say hello? Now check out how crazy and unique that building on the corner is. It's been gated and built
I don't know, I find it unusual for no particular reason.
I thought it looked like a huge frat party or something.
It's early in the afternoon. I think it must be around 12:30 or 1. It's fairly quiet. And in our most recent walk, somebody commented on how quiet things are. Well, these neighborhoods are either residential and or people that live here are people that are actually out and about working during the day.
Imagine that.
Or maybe it's possible, buenas tardes,
Buenas tardes.
that we're so used to the noisiness of the tourist neighborhoods that we forget that some neighborhoods are quieter. Now here's another view of a building one can actually see from El Libramiento. I don't know its name, but this is yet another building that has been added to this neighborhood. In front of me there's a taco place that I'm going to try to photograph with better lighting. And hopefully this photo will come out. And across the street, ooh, sexy guys exercising. Let's have a look. This is a neighborhood gym. And we are going to just see what's going on. Ooh, this is called Planet Fitness. And it's a fairly well-equipped health club that I didn't even know existed. And I'm going to use this as an excuse to check out the eye candy.
Yum.
But now that I'm becoming blatantly blatant that I'm doing this, and I'm looking at look at me, all gorgeous and chubby on the mirror, I might as well take a self-portrait. Boom. Okay, this is clearly not a place for me. So we're gonna go back to the shade of the other sidewalk.
And I swear to God, if you could flag me for playing somebody
But that wasn't
else's
so bad.
background music, I'm gonna be so upset.
Eye candy.
The sidewalks are getting weirder here, Dan. Just as an FYI.
Oh, all of a sudden there's no sidewalk. But that's okay. And now we find ourselves at the Red Cross. There's a small rotary, but I can see the Red Cross on the other side. And we are actually one short block away from El Libramiento. But we are going to skip that today. We are not going to walk to the Libramiento, although that will be the border of the neighborhood. What we're going to do, hola, is walk down Rio de la Plata. La cámara, sí, hola. We're going to walk down Rio de la Plata, which is another one of the streets in this neighborhood. And once again, I'm going to be wimpy, and I'm going to walk on the shady side.
Because we all have a shady side.
Do you live in this neighborhood? Do you know someone who does? If you do, it is always awesome to get comments to that effect.
I loved earlier the people hanging their clothes to dry right on the sidewalk. So typical.
And we are approaching a place that is playing music, and I'm deliberately speaking louder now because I want to make sure that I don't go through the bad fortune of getting shut down by YouTube or any other social media outlet. Not a lot of standards here in terms of painted facades or anything, but it's nice to see how certain corners are very nicely kept.
Ooh, I'm seeing some shady
Buenas
comments
tardes.
among you. You get some shade back
There's a
from yours
car
truly, trust me.
Parts place here in some kind of a hardware store. It's always nice to see when there are small neighborhood shops near the places where one can live. And of course, as we walk around here, we've seen taco stands, we've seen small shops. And of course, we are a very short distance from the Libramiento on one end and very close to Francisco Medina Asensio Avenue in the other end. Here's a cute, well-protected building on this corner. And I can hear the bus coming behind me. So again, it's nice to know that this neighborhood has good public transportation. Oh, before I continue,
Just as an FYI.
looking down that way, 2 or 3 blocks away, is the local graveyard,
Cemetery.
the one that is located next to the seafood market. And the seafood market is right at the edge of 5 de Diciembre in this neighborhood.
Big body shop for cars there. Not for people.
Buenas tardes.
That was in Colonia Versalles, Joe, unless there was
Oh, check out these cute little houses right at the end
another
of
part
this block.
building.
Let me see if I can take a photo. It's right against the sun. But I think we can, oh, this car is moving, so I can do a better job from here. Very cute houses. And we have come to the intersection of a street that I don't know the name of, but I can tell you that 2 blocks in that direction on the left would be the entrance to the cemetery, and across the street is the seafood market. We're going to retrace our steps and head back to the stadium so we can wrap up this walk. Nice to see some street artwork. Unfortunately, it has not been well kept.
Thank you, Cheryl.
We are walking down Brasilia Street. And check out this groovy apartment building right on this corner. How fun is that? If you look at these streets on the map, you will notice that the layout of the streets here is rather eclectic. It's not set in a strict grid format as one would find in other parts of the city. Here the layout has been rather capricious. We don't know exactly why it is that way, but that's okay. We don't always have all the answers, do we?
I want to hear about Langosta Feliz because I've never been. Thank you for that, Barbara. And isn't quiet and not touristy a nice change? I love these neighborhoods and I love walking through them.
Whoops. A lot of times it's easy to think from these walks that you are somewhere in the middle of nowhere. But in reality, we are closer to known landmarks than you possibly think. And I'll give you a perfect example. At this corner that is coming up, we have reached the other back end of the stadium. Right here at the corner is Tortilleria Aries, one of the best known tortilla factories in the city. And again, that would be the opposite backside of the stadium. And right across the street, look at this.
Oh my God.
I have found a place for tacos de canasta that I don't know. And just because I'm starving, I am going to stop here and have a bite, and I'll let you know how it went.
It went
But
heavenly.
before we do that, let me just say goodbye. This has been another one of our neighborhood walks. We will continue to discuss this neighborhood on Friday. And as always, it's a pleasure to connect with you, and I will see you again soon. Ciao.
And it was right there with my mouth full of heavenly taco food that I was sitting down, and all of a sudden, the wonderful Glee Audrey Lembeck walks by, and she's like, "You're Paco!" And it was just wonderful to meet you, dear friend. How very nice that you enjoyed this neighborhood. It was nice to see you. And as always, it is great to bump into people that we know from the broadcast. I hope you enjoyed that. Now we're going to take a quick look at your comments. There were so many of them. So let us quickly go through your good mornings. Yay, Rita's coming back. And I know I promised you an adventure out to Moro Paraíso, Rita. We can certainly do that whenever you are back. It'll be fun. Let's see what we have. Albert, you sound like me. Can't wait to see where I'm going. I have no idea where I've been. Sounds like a regular day for me. Eric, it's always great to see you. I noticed a long queue, and I'm sure it's coming up. I'm going to get to it in a second. Let's see what else we have. Bum, buddy, bum, 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 bum. Do, 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 do. Uh-oh. Doug is on hold in Cincinnati while partner gets hip replacement. I hope everything goes smoothly, Doug, and I hope that you are able to be back here at the beginning of January. We'll keep our fingers crossed. Let's see. Logan, I hope you can get a nap this afternoon. I hate it when I get insomnia. Not to be indiscreet or anything, but Logan was telling me earlier how he woke up in the middle of the night, couldn't go back to sleep. That sounds like the story of my life. Some days I just can't help it. So what I end up doing is just getting up and getting work done, knowing that next day I can look forward to a big, big old siesta. Julie says, is your video lighting new? You look lovely today. Oh, Julie, I'll have what you're having. I've been tweaking some things around, and I'm glad to hear that you're enjoying it. Oh my God! Not only is Joey new, but he is in Paso Ancho, one of our favorite necks of the wood. Joey, welcome to Coffee and Headlines. We frequently find ourselves in your neck of the woods because we love El Jorullo and we love a restaurant out there called Moro Paraíso. And we frequently walk all the way from El Libramiento to Moro Paraíso. So welcome. And I am so glad that you're enjoying the broadcasts. Hope that we can meet someday if we're out and about. To whom do you report violations of COVID measures in restaurants, businesses? Is it worth it? Worth it? I could swear you asked that the other day, Larry, and I believe we answered 911. Is it worth it? Well, yes, if it's important to you. No, if it's not important to you. I mean, there are so many restaurants and businesses in this town. My personal stance is, if it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing, it's not for me, and I simply turn around and leave. If you are, for example, living next door to a restaurant that is shamelessly not following the rules or something like that, or you have a bone to pick, by all means, report away, but it's a personal choice. Let's see. There you go. Eric offers a helpful update to the building by the bridge. Demolition and removal of the damaged structure is complete. The next 4 to 6 weeks will bring a visual improvement to the facade of the remaining structure, entrances to the building, and safety barriers around the foundation hall along Insurgentes. That is good to know, Eric. I hope you can recover your investment somehow, and I hope that you're going to end up being back at that location if that is your intention. Paul, hey, Piba. Paul, my Piba, says there are reasons for regulations for businesses. Duh, of course there are. InDriver horror stories are numerous because they are operating outside of the law. So there you go. And then Catherine adds, it's like paying for hitchhiking. Well, again, if you are going to ride InDriver, do it at your own risk. That's just my own personal opinion. Jenny says the train looks great. And I am just itching to get on that train. A lot of you seem to enjoy train rides. Javier comments, I love train rides. Can't wait. I am still hoping to get to the Chepe someday, the Chihuahua Pacifico train. We've talked about that train in the past. Let's see what else we have. Joe says, my flight arrived and immigration was nowhere to be seen. And yes, Glee, it was great to meet you. I always call you Glee Audrey just because it sounds better in my crazy head. But if you go by Glee, I thought about asking you that yesterday, but I was so stuffed with taco heavenly feelings that I forgot to ask you. Kimberly says, not a fan of minors getting the CVAX as it's unknown for the long-term effects for reproduction and cardiovascular diseases. Well, Kimberly, I am not a fan of many things, and, noted, but, what you're, I'm just wondering how that contributes to the conversation, but that's just me. I'm just reacting to your comment. Tony says, that train is what we need from Guadalajara to Puerto Vallarta through our beautiful Sierra. Oh my God, if we had that again, that would be heavenly. I understand there are train tracks somewhere. And I don't know if or when the train made it, how far in the state of Jalisco, but that would be delicious. Let's see what else we have. Oh, I saw this comment, and I found this comment so wonderful and interesting. Tony asks, is this the center of the colonia? And I love that comment because for whatever reason, Tony, it is funny because, or interesting, not funny. Some colonias have a feeling of a corner or a square or something that feels like it's the center of the colonia. Not all colonias do. Was I walking through the center of Colonia Lázaro Cárdenas? I don't think so. Could I identify a landmark or a park that I would think is the center of Colonia Lázaro Cárdenas? I couldn't, but if anybody living in Lázaro Cárdenas knows what is considered the downtown of the Colonia, it would be interesting to learn that information. Tony also comments, when you walk in PV, you walk slow in the shade and carry a sweat rag. Amen. And I crochet my own sweat rags. There you go. Now, this one made me just think interesting. Chris commented, awful building looks like a creepy funhouse. Yes, it does, Chris. But I will give you some food for thought. I am sure that that building would be heavenly if you went walking around the dumps of Puerto Vallarta and you get to meet the people that live in cardboard houses and that don't have electricity and stuff like that. So, is it an awful building? Maybe, but I would live there if I didn't have any resources. That's just my little food for thought. Let's see. Interesting how many comments there are about uncrowded streets. And again, I'm realizing more and more we are getting so fracking used to the tourism density in our tourism popular areas that we forget that Puerto Vallarta can be a very peaceful place to live if you step out of that bubble. Karen asks, no Oxos? I am sure there are Oxos here and there. I was not looking for them this time around for no specific reason, but I am sure there are some Oxos scattered around the neighborhood. They tend to be everywhere. Let's see what else. I love this. There is my old house. I like the pink building as well. I have no idea who lives there, but I thought it was really groovy. And I noticed your comments about Langosta Feliz. I've never been to Langosta Feliz. I don't know it. I think, oh, there you go. John commented, it's a little bit pricey, but has a huge seafood platter. Can't miss the building. It has a huge lobster on the front of it. I'll definitely check it out at some point because it seems to be an important landmark in Lázaro Cárdenas. And Javier is right in saying this. Tacos de canasta or basket tacos are also known as tacos sudados or sweaty tacos because it is the moisture that keeps them soft and sweaty, So there you have it. Let's see what else. Langosta Feliz has a great lobster thermidor. A thermidor. I love that word. Let's see what else we have. Craig comments, love your camera work, Paco. Amazing how steady your walks are. Well, the steadiness comes from the camera itself, not from my walking. That's for sure. And not to complain or anything. And this also goes to this other comment from Joe. Just as an FYI, that walk was 16, 17 minutes long. It takes me about an average of about 2 to 3 hours to edit each one of these walks because, in case you're wondering, we start with editing the still photographs. Then we have to pan and position the video, and then we have to export the video, and then we throw it into the video editor, and then we have to individually add each one of the photos, make sure that they appear where they're supposed to appear. Then we add the clicking sound effect, make sure that the photos pop out, and then we add any kind of signage that is important or commentary, or we correct our mistakes. And then we have to export the walks, and then we have to encode the walk in a format that is friendly for streaming. So in case you're wondering, it's a labor of love, but you are more than worth it. Let's see. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Eric says, we expect the hotel co-work to reopen by the new year. That is great news, Eric. We'll keep our fingers crossed, and I hope you will meet your deadline. Speaking of deadlines, I read through the grapevine. This is not confirmed, but apparently Costco is opening their gas station this month. So there you have it. Oh, thank you for that. Glee says that she goes by Glee, but you can call me Glee Audrey if you like. No, I'll call you Glee because that's what people call you. But thank you for clarifying that. And again, it was a pleasure bumping into you. Tony says, yeah, like Emiliano Zapata, the market is like the center. There you go. Let's see what else. Your walking and time-consuming editing is greatly appreciated and invaluable. I appreciate that very much, Gary. I love the fact that we can create connections. That's what Coffee and Headlights is all about. We say it over and over again every time a connection is made here between one another, between us and the many features of our city, between us and the culture of my country, Mexico. It's one more goal accomplished. And it is such a pleasure that you are a part of it on a daily basis. I very much appreciate that. And this brings us to the end of our broadcast. It's been a lot of fun. Tomorrow is Thursday. I don't know exactly what tomorrow will unfold, but I sure am happy that I got to walk Lázaro Cardenas yesterday. What a great reminder of a colonia that has a little bit of everything, and we'll get to talk more in detail about that on Friday. Between now and then, please stay happy, stay kind, stay calm, say the British, and stay healthy. Take care of one another, and most importantly, stay in touch. Have a great day.